Final Fantasy XV has been a long time coming. Arguably the most important series of RPGs of all time, the Final Fantasy franchise is the jewel in the Square Enix crown, with many of its previous titles considered classics of the genre. However, it's been more than half a decade since the last core single-player title, Final Fantasy XIII, and JRPG fans are hungry for more. What can we expect from this high-speed new title? With nearly 10 years in development, Final Fantasy XV's had a long time to make up its mind about what it wants to be. Forming part of the Fabula Nova Crystallis arc along with 13 and Type 0, 15 follows the path of a crown prince, Noctis, on the run from Niflheim, the nation that's invaded his home of Lucis. The story follows the prince and his band of amigos fleeing the war in their sports car. Occasionally, they take a break to go roadside camping or kill some of the local wildlife with swords they pull out of thin air. It's a JRPG, so just go with it. Final Fantasy XV promises to give us much more than just open grassland to explore, however. Trailers have shown us huge cityscapes and dramatic buildings with the characters battling monsters on cobbled streets. As with all epic Eastern RPGs, you can expect varied settings. The art on show is absolutely beautiful, and even if you don't like the semi-technological setting of the game's world, you have to admit Square Enix have raised the bar in visual presentation over the years, from the awe-inspiring cutscenes of Final Fantasy VII to the stunning environments we've been teased with for 15. As for the combat of the game, the turn-based system used in every other core Final Fantasy title is gone, replaced with a fast-paced live-action system that sees characters teleporting across the battlefield and summoning weapons to tackle their foes. Those of us who've played the 4-hour-long demo of the game had a chance to get to grips with this rapid-fire battle system, and it's a refreshing change. Whether it'll provide the tactical depth of older Final Fantasy games is yet to be seen. One addition that's fresh to the series is a stealth system, teased heavily in the demo. It'll now be possible for the player to avoid battles in certain situations by sneaking from cover to cover and staying out of sight. How this will mesh with a game where the player is still expected to grind experience points by killing enemies is yet to be seen, but it's a sign that Square Enix are willing to embrace change, and that's a good thing. The slow, turn-based fights of older games can feel unbearably restrictive when played nowadays. However the gameplay of 15 turns out to be, we're excited to spend some time in a giant cityscape instead of a straight corridor. A lot of Final Fantasy XIII's levels felt linear and abandoned, with no sense of being lived in. 15 promises its fair share of clean concrete and sharp lines, but we're hoping the technical power of the new consoles will allow for truly lived-in cities. It's the characters that made the older games so incredibly memorable, and we want to see plenty of new faces in Final Fantasy XV. So there you have it. Sci-fi merging with open wilderness, some very reserved haircuts for Square Enix, and live-action combat. Sure, we're wary of the previous mistakes the Final Fantasy series has made in the past, but they've had a long time to take things back to the drawing board. Keep your fingers crossed for some robust writing, and get ready for a road movie of a Final Fantasy game, because no matter what, 15 is going to be big news.
This video has been brought to you by Jinx TV. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel, give us a thumbs up, and check out these other videos. Also, if you want to see more of our shows, check out our website, jinx.tv.